So I think we would all agree that the team around LeBron in his first stint with Cleveland was not exactly ideal. They did manage to put some okay talent around him. Ilgauskas was already there. They got Mo Williams. There was an Anton Jameson attempt, but he wasn't as good. Shaq was over the hill. Overall, it wasn't great, right? I mean, while we saw Dwayne Wade get to play with Shaq, really good Shaq for at least 2 years, we saw the Lakers steal Pau Gasol. LeBron never really had a trade of that magnitude. So anyway, if we dive into it a little bit, the year before LeBron in the 2003 draft, the Cavs selected DeJuan Wagner when they could have selected Amari Stoudemire. So that kind of already showed you how Cleveland was when it came to drafting talent. They do get LeBron in 2003. And then the year after that in the draft, their first real opportunity to build talent around LeBron. I will get to the Carlos Boozer thing. They went with Luke Jackson. And in that draft, they could have selected Al Jefferson, Josh Smith, J.R. Smith, Jameer Nelson, Kevin Martin. It would have been a big break if Iguodala fell to them at number 10, but that didn't happen. Whether they could have traded for him or not, I have no idea. And after that, it was pretty difficult because LeBron just made them too good too fast, so they weren't picking in the top picks of the lottery pretty much. Now, even so, that's not an excuse for nailing basically none of those picks, but it did make it a little tougher. And then we get to Carlos Boozer. So basically, Boozer was good. He was on his rookie contract. The deal was the Cavs would decline his option and then sign him to a 6-year contract worth $41 million. And then the Jazz came out of nowhere, offered him a whole lot more money, and then Boozer went to Utah. And Boozer claims there was no commitment, no handshake. I don't know. I don't really care who was right. It happened like 15 years ago. The fact was that the guy who could have been the 20-point scorer next to LeBron was gone after LeBron's first season. And, I mean, that's kind of a real two-punch blow to the franchise. It's losing Boozer and then blowing the pick on Luke Jackson. That really hurts, man. And in 2005, they did not have their draft pick because of a trade that happened in 1997 to the Phoenix Suns for Tony Dumas and Wesley Person. I mean, what the hell, dude? And that pick eventually ended up on the Bobcats, and they selected Sean May, who did nothing in the NBA. But imagine if Cleveland just had that draft pick, whether it's they could have used it for whoever. I mean, this wasn't a very strong draft. Like, Bogut went number 1. CP was the best player. Darren Williams was good for a while. Looking at guys selected around number 13, I mean, Danny Granger was picked 17, so maybe Cleveland could have ended up with him in some way. It's tough to know. I mean, if you start going down the rabbit hole, it's suddenly how many things are you changing along the way? I don't know. But obviously, Cleveland having a draft pick is better than not having one. Other small things that happened. So in the second round of the LeBron draft, 2003, the Cavs picked Jason Kapono, which, given where the pick was, the 31st pick, it's not bad. You got yourself an actual player. But of course, he was gone after not too long. Another thing here was free agents were not going to go to Cleveland. I mean, everybody knew LeBron was awesome, but his stature was not as it is now. So, random good free agent just wasn't more inclined to go there. I do remember there was also, what was it, like they could have traded for Stoudemire, but they didn't want to give up J.J. Hickson, something crazy like that. Yeah, that rumor was in 2010, and that one's weird because Stoudemire fell off really fast after 2010. So in that sense, Cleveland made the right move, but it certainly would have helped in the moment. He was still really good for about a year and a half after from when this move would have happened, which was the deadline of the 2009/2010 season. I remember that there were also some rumors about Jason Kidd back in, Google tells me 2008 is when that was really a thing, that LeBron wanted Jason Kidd. Of course, that didn't happen. If we go back to the draft, they had the 25th pick in 2006. There's not much they could have really done there. It was Shannon Brown. The next good player was Paul Millsap, who was picked a million picks later. This one's kind of a disaster. Their 2007 pick was traded away in 2005 for a dude named, I think, Jerry Welsh. And that pick ended up being the 24th pick in the 2007 draft. The Suns selected Rudy Fernandez with the pick. Aaron Aflalo was a couple spots after that. So the Cavaliers could have gotten themselves a nice player, or they could have traded it for something better if they would have held on to that one. Like, that's honestly a disaster of a trade. They traded their 2007 first for a guy who played 16 games for them in 2005. I mean, think about this for a second. While the Cavaliers were whiffing on picks or just flat out giving them away, the Lakers stole Pau Gasol. I mean, imagine if LeBron just got a freebie trade like that one. I mean, honestly, seeing all the ways that Cleveland screwed up over the years, and with the Boozer thing, it's kind of shocking that they at least managed to put an okay team out there around LeBron, you know? Like, yeah, they weren't good. I figure if you replace LeBron with a decent wing, they probably win like 35 games. But, I mean, at least they were like a good defense, and they were okay enough at making open shots. I mean, and Mo Williams gave you a little bit of shot creation and playmaking. You know, between Mo Williams, Ilgauskas, Drew Good, and Anthony Parker, whoever the hell else was on those Cavs teams for longer than 2 years. Like, it registered as an actual NBA team, but it still wasn't maximizing the stuff around LeBron, you know what I mean? And when you start to look at all this other stuff that went on with Cleveland and the way they just screwed up year after year, it's honestly shocking that they managed to at least put something somewhat competent out there. The 2008 draft was J.J. Hickson. It's not great. It's not the worst thing they could have done there. I do remember one of the Cavaliers teams. I think it was the 2010 team. Was that the one where Ben Wallace was a power forward? It was one of them. I don't remember which year. Which just captured that era of basketball so much. I would also like to point out that Mike Brown was the coach throughout all of this, and I mean, there you go. So yeah. Again, not a great way to build around your guy. I mean, basically what happened was Cleveland, as a front office, had no idea what they were doing. They fall into the first pick. They select the best player ever. And then they go right back to not knowing what the hell they were doing. And it's kind of like, you can go look at various years of that whole thing. I mean, in 2006, they lose to the Pistons in round 2. In 7 games, LeBron puts up 27, 9, and 6. The only other guy to score 10 points a game was Ilgauskas. And Larry Hughes, who's apparently supposed to be some awesome guy if you're on the LeBron hate train, he put up a hot 9 points in that series. LeBron still dragged him to a game 7. The year after that, the team is basically the same thing. Drags them to the NBA Finals. For what it's worth, LeBron didn't play amazing in those finals. I also don't care, because the fact that he got him there at all was insane. There was also no way they were going to win that series anyway. Like, even if LeBron went nuts, that Spurs team was not going to lose to that crappy Cavs team. Yeah, I mean, it was basically all this all the way to the end. Like, we all understand what happened with LeBron in Cleveland the first time around. But I do want to mention one more thing, because there are very few things that I enjoyed doing more than bigging up LeBron. The infamous Orlando Magic series, he had 3 games where he scored over 40 that the Cavs lost. And if that doesn't sum up his years with Cleveland, I don't know what does.